OpenAI just released ChatGPT Agent and it's insanely powerful. So naturally, I wanted to see if it can help me to get clients, and what I found shocked me. I was able to build my own custom lead generation machine that helps me to 100% on autopilot book meetings and close new customers. And in this video, I will show you step by step how you can implement the system for your own business so you can generate new clients month over month. So how does this agent actually work? Let me give you a quick 60-second overview. All you need is to put in the company domain of the company that you're doing outbound for. And this is all it takes, and the agent is doing the rest. It's like having a full-time SDR running 24/7, but at a fraction of the cost compared to hiring an actual person or buying a subscription to a very expensive AI SDR tool. I've been doing lead gen for years, tested hundreds of workflows, and this is the only workflow that consistently brought me 30+ new clients every month. I will show you every single step you need to set this up for yourself, and I will also put the templates in the description so you can just copy paste and follow along. Great, so the first thing that you have to do is actually importing the workflow. So the only thing you need to do is here click on the 3 dots and then click here on import from file, and the file you will find in the description. After the import, you will see this whole agent, and the only thing that you will have to do now, which we will do together, is filling in your API keys and also connecting it to your outreach tool and Google Sheet. As mentioned at the beginning, the only thing that you need is the company domain of the company that you're doing outbound for. And after you have collected that, just click here on Open Chat and put it here. To keep it simple, we assume that our company is Salesforce, or rather the company that we're doing outbound for. So the only thing you have to put here is salesforce.com. So let's quickly do that. So salesforce.com. And as you can see, the agent is already starting to work on it. And the first thing we, of course, need to do is connect our agent to our OpenAI tool. Before we connect the AI, you can see that we only need to put in the domain, and everything here is working on autopilot. So we're generating the company summary, we are identifying relevant personas, ICPs. We're also looking for leads. This is also something that the agent is doing completely autonomously. The agent is also going to check whether the leads are actually matching the criteria of our ICP, of our persona, again using AI. And then the next step is that we're going to find the email for the people so that we can actually do the outreach. Based on all the data gathered about that lead, about our company value proposition, also other things, we will craft a personalized outreach message, which will allow us to have a very personalized and also relevant email sent to every single lead. The next thing we're going to do then is waiting for the replies. So we are going to use Smartlead in this instance, but you can also use tools like Sales Handy, Salesforce, or also Instantly. And then we're going to wait for the replies. And the good thing about this agent is that it also handles the replies automatically. Ultimately, the goal of the agent is to book meetings for you, so you'll also have to replace your calendar link here. This is something I will show you at the end. It will be on you to close that lead, but everything before that has been done by the agent. So going back now where everything starts, so this is the chat, right? But before that, we have to connect our OpenAI model. So we chose OpenAI, so ChatGPT, but you can also use AIs like Gemini or Anthropic. So this is completely on you. If you're unsure, I recommend to just go with OpenAI. You can also create a completely free account there, and the only thing you need to do here is connect your OpenAI account, and this is something you can do by extracting the API key from your OpenAI account and just pasting it here then. The other two nodes that you can see here, window buffer memory 6 as well as the structured output parser 6, these are basically just two nodes that store the data for you and also structure it so it's more readable, but you do not have to do anything there. And the only task of this agent now is to basically extract the domain from our chat. So this is a completely easy step, right? So it only needs to see the domain that we put in. So this is something that will be used then later on by the agent. The next step is that we gather as much data about the company as possible. So we're going to use Firecrawl, which allows us to scrape the website of Salesforce in this case. Again, you can just create a free account and you don't need a credit card whatsoever, and you will just need to replace your API key here, and also make sure, because this is a special API, to put the word bearer before putting the API key in. And as you can see below here, the only input that we give Firecrawl is the company domain, and this is something that we got here from the AI agent, which extracted it from our chat. And the output that we get is a lot of data about the company Salesforce, which will later on allow our agent to also find leads and write relevant copy. All of the data scraped through Firecrawl then is being sent to the next part of the AI agent, where a company summary is being generated as well as the value proposition of that company. And again, make sure to connect your OpenAI key here, and going into the agent, we can see that the only thing that we have here is the data about the company from Firecrawl, and we are asking the agent to have a maximum 500-word summary about our company. The output is going to be the company summary here. So as we can see, a lot of interesting data about Salesforce. It's including the value proposition, the features they offer, and everything which we need for the agent. This is the first time now we're going to connect our Google Sheet, where we're going to gather all of the data, and there is also a template in the description that you can just download and use yourself. The first thing you need to do then is click here on the node and then connect your Google Sheet, and also make sure that you connect then the right document and also the right sheet. We're then going to take the output from the Google Sheet, as we can see here, the company name, the company domain, as well as the company summary, and going here in the Google Sheet, this will look like that. So we have Salesforce, salesforce.com, and then in the About Company sheet, we have all of the company summary that we need. Once we gathered all of this information in the Google Sheet, we're going to push that information from the Google Sheet to the next part of the agent, which will help us to identify relevant personas that we're going to target in our outbound. Because what's great about outbound is that you can do a lot of testing at scale. So we're going to target different personas. In this case, we are using up to 5, but you can also change this in the agent. And later on, this will allow us to test multiple variations of personas and then focus on the best one in the end. So based on all of the company information our agent gathered, it will see then if on the website there is enough information about the personas, and if not, it will make hypotheses about them. One example persona that the agent ultimately came up with is, for example, sales manager in the United States in the technology industry. The next step then is that we split all of these personas in this node, right, so that we have all of this more readable for the agent, and we will again push this to the Google Sheet. So make sure to connecting it properly again, and also making sure that everything is mapped here correctly, right? Also the right document as well as the right sheet is connected. In this case, it's the identified persona sheet. So here you can see the job titles, the location, and the industry that the agent came up with, something we will need later on to actually find the right leads. The next big step for the agent is actually finding the right people that we can reach out to for our outbound. To find the leads, we're going to use Google Search, which is actually one of the most reliable and also most effective way of actually finding the leads. And to get access to the Google API, we're going to use a tool called Serper, where you can also create an account completely for free with no credit card whatsoever. So once you created it, make sure to first of all map your API key here. So just replace it with the API key from your Serper dashboard. And to create the actual Google search query, we're going to look for the leads on LinkedIn, right? So we're going to craft it like site linkedin.com/in. This means that we're looking on the side of LinkedIn and that it needs to be a profile. And we're going to use our variables here, the job title we're looking for, the industry, as well as the location. For demonstration purposes, we asked the agent to only give us 1 lead per persona, but of course you should change this to like 10, 100, or whatever you think is best for you. In the output then, we can see that we have actual people with the job title, with the actual LinkedIn profile, the name, and also everything that we need, for example, the location. Again, for better readability for the agent, we're going to split all of the results so that everything is clear and easy to read for the agent. After the agent found the leads and also built the lead list, we now want to gather additional LinkedIn profile data about each of the prospects. We're doing that because this will help our AI agent to personalize the outreach copy and also use all of that information for the automatic replies. And to actually scrape the LinkedIn profile, we're going to use a tool called Piloter. Again, a tool where you should create an account, but you can do it completely for free, again with no credit card needed whatsoever. So we're going to click here on that node. We will see that you again need to replace your API key, and the only thing that you need to put here is the actual LinkedIn profile, so Piloter knows which lead to actually scrape the profile for. So as you can see, the output, we do not only have the name of the person as well as the location, but we also have a lot more information, for example, the experiences and also things like the education and everything that will help our agent to get to know that person actually better. The next step now is that we want to make sure that we only reach out to relevant leads. So all of these leads are being sent to the next step of the agent, where it will check based on its criteria that we gave it at the beginning, whether it's actually a valid lead that we want to reach out to. And again, the first step, make sure that your OpenAI account is connected properly here so that the agent can actually work with an LLM. Going into the node now, the agent is going to check whether, for example, the location is matching to the personas that we initially determined, or rather the agent determined, and also things like the position. And this will allow us to check whether these are actually valid leads we want to reach out to. And the output is basically whether the match is true or whether the match is false. So if it's true, this means this is a lead that matches all of the criteria that we have per persona. And if it's false, then at least one criteria is not matching. And to make sure that everything is gathered nicely in the Google Sheet again, make sure to connect it here again, and then also map all of the right document names and also the right sheet. So in the Google Sheet now, we can see here the next sheet is the lead sheet. So we appended all of the data that we got from the Google search, but then also the match request. For example, here there is a false. So this means this is not a lead we're going to reach out to. And we have all of the additional data that we have about the lead and also the company from Piloter, which is the LinkedIn scraper. Interesting thing is that the agent is not going to say if it's a match true or false, but also the reasons. So this is going to also help to potentially fine-tune our model. The internal ID is something that has been created because it allows us to identify the leads later on in a way more simple way. And as mentioned before, we only want to do outbound to the leads that actually match our criteria, so we're going to filter out the ones that don't. So quickly going into the node here, we can see that only if the output match of check contact matching is true, we're going to push it to the next node. The next step is now that we need to find the email addresses, because after all, this is a sales agent and it's going to do outreach and we're going to use cold emails. Now, what I like to do and what I've seen works best with this agent is use a waterfall enrichment tool like Better Contact, because what it allows me to do is to find as many emails which are actually valid, because Better Contact is a tool which aggregates over 20 data providers in one. So with this, I basically don't have the problem of missing out on a lot of leads. Because I've tested out things like Apollo, and for example, if I have a lead list of 1,000 people, Apollo might find 500 or 600 emails. But if I put that through a verification tool like Million Verifier, I only have like 300 to maximum 400 actually valid emails. So we're going to go to Better Contact and we can create an account for free. And we, again, don't need a credit card whatsoever. This will allow us to then get an API key, and we can find that from the API cockpit, and then here on the node, paste it under the API key. And to find the email, we need the first name, the last name, as well as the company name, domain, and LinkedIn URL. So these are all the fields that work best to find the email and maximize the success rate of finding it. And what I've mentioned previously on the Google Sheet, we have our unique identifier for each lead. So we're going to pass on a custom field, which will later on allow us to identify the lead more easily. The process of finding the email by Better Contact is going to take a few minutes because, as mentioned, they request like 20 plus providers and also do a lot of verification, so to make sure that the emails we get are actually valid. So we're going to create a webhook because we're going to wait for the email enrichment to be ready. So we're going to click here, and then we're going to click here on production URL and copy out the webhook URL. So after we copied out the production URL here, we're going to go here to Better Contact, and then we're going to paste in the webhook URL here because Better Contact needs to know where to push the enriched emails. And to double check that the Better Contact node worked, we're going to see here that success true, and currently the enrichment is processing, and we also have an ID for this. And once the email enrichment process has been finished, we're going to push all of these leads again to the filter because Better Contact gives us different email statuses. And the email statuses are deliverable, catch all safe, catch all not safe, and undeliverable. And the only safe to send emails are actually deliverable, so catch all safe. So we need to make sure that only these emails are being pushed to the next step of the agent. Only the valid emails are then being sent again to the Google Sheet, so make sure to map it properly. So we're going to use the unique ID, right, the one that we had here in the Google Sheet. Let's go back here to the internal ID, and this will then allow us to map the correct email address to the respective leads. The next step now is personalizing an outreach message for each lead so that it's actually relevant and also personalized to each of them. And to do that, the agent is going to extract all of the relevant info about our leads from the Google Sheet. This includes person level data, but also company level data, but also things like the value proposition and summary of our company so that the outreach message is actually relevant and perfectly tailored to everything that we have. So we're going to connect the Google Sheets again, and we're going to extract the data that we have about that lead, again, mapping with the internal ID that we have. And here also on the lead, get all data about the value proposition. So this is something that we will also then map and have everything being sent to the AI agent. So the data is being sent to the AI agent, and here make sure again to map your ChatGPT model. And the prompt is basically that agent is a cold email writer. You can also, of course, adjust this prompt to your liking. We will give all of the information like the company name, the company summary, as well as all of the information about the lead. And the two things that we want to have returned are basically the subject line, so 10 words maximum, and also the actual outreach body. And of course, if you have a template that you want to follow, you can also paste it here. We're then going to push the data to the outreach tool, and we're going to use Smart Lead because it has a very flexible API. But if you want, you can also use tools like Salesforce, Sales Handy, or Instantly. And again, you can create a free account for Smart Lead, and you have a 14-day free trial, and you don't need a credit card whatsoever. So the first thing you will do in the node is click here on Push Lead and Message to Smart Lead, and you will be able to paste in the API key from your account. So for that, just click here on the settings and then click here on your profile, and then you will be able to generate your API key. So the only thing you have to do now is create campaign, and if it's required, this keeps changing, basically uploading one single person. It could just be like dummy data, right? It's just important that there's like one lead to start with, and then we're going here to the sequences. For the copy, the only thing that you have to do now is basically paste here the variable subject, and then here in the body, paste in the variable body, right? Because we don't need to write the actual copy because this is all handled by our AI agent. And just to briefly understand where the data of the subject and body are being located, in the API body, we can see that the subject is here. So basically, this is something we asked the AI agent to create, and the body is here. So we can click here on Save and Next, and then we're going to go to the setup page. So here you have to connect your sender accounts, right? So these are your mailboxes. You also need to schedule the campaign, and then they will go to the campaign settings now. As the AI agent is also autonomously handling all of the replies, we will have to create a webhook now. And to do that, we have to create the webhook here by clicking on Modify Settings, clicking here on Webhook, and then here on Adding Webhook. And we, of course, need a webhook URL. So this is something that we can find here in the agent. So here on the Get Lead Replies. So let's quickly do that, and let's copy it out here and click here on Paste. And here we have the correct webhook URL. We're also going to give the AI agent a name. So we're just going to call it Push Replies to AI Agent. And the event type is only when there is reply. We also want to have data on our webhook received. And one thing which is very important is that we need to make sure that we also send the email to the right campaign. So something that we need to do now is basically copying out the campaign title, or rather the campaign ID, so we can actually have it identified by Smart Lead. For that, we're going to quickly go back here to our interface and then click back on the campaign. And what we can see here in the header is that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 digit number. And this is something we have to copy out and then just replace here, going back to that one node and put it here. And again, to have everything properly stored, we're going to go to the Google Sheet and we're going to connect it here so that everything is mapped properly. And this is something we will store here in the last sheet in the leads reply one. So in this case, we just hard-coded it, right? So we have here the email, the reply, the Smart Lead stats ID, as well as the Smart Lead message ID. But in the template, we're going to provide to you all of the variables are being mapped correctly so that it works dynamically. So make sure to map your Google Sheet properly again, and we're going to fetch here from the About Company sheet, and this will allow us to, again, craft a fully personalized and also relevant message, or rather reply, to the company, but also to the lead. So all of this information is again fed to the AI agent. Please make sure again to connect your OpenAI model or whatever you're using. And then you can see here that based on this reply and also all of the other information, the agent is going to come up with a reply. What's great about it is that especially for our trackability, we will have a reply signal. So for example, if the person said, I'm interested, we're going to send out the calendar invite. If the prospect has an objection, the AI will try to come up with a way to solve that based on all of the input that it has. If the lead is inconvincible, meaning, for example, that they say, please remove me from your list, the agent is going to stop and also going to remove that lead from the list. And what's so great about it is that the big advantage of actually replying within minutes or even seconds is that oftentimes people just lose their interest. Because if a normal human is doing cold outbound, it takes a lot of time to actually reply because the person also needs to do something else and is not able to constantly monitor the inbox. And because the replies are being sent out by the agent within minutes or even seconds, this is going to allow us to keep the prospects warm and also book more meetings and also in the end close more revenue for our company. So again, one last time, this is going to be pushed to the Google Sheet. So we're going to map this properly here. And then we have all of this data again, and we will push the reply to Smartly so that everything is basically in a loop. Here, make sure again that everything is set up properly again with your API key, but also here with the right campaign ID, and that everything is being sent what should be sent. So quick thing here again, for the AI agent, make sure to change your calendar link here. So of course, the big goal of this agent is that it books as many meetings as possible. And of course, this should be for your own calendar. So you're probably going to ask yourself, what's going to happen if the person replied and the agent is going to reply again? The good thing about this is that the agent is basically able to have a conversation with a lot of different messages because it's going to start again here to monitor for replies. So the thread between the agent and the person until the meeting is ultimately booked can be very long. So that's exactly how you can use an AI ChatGPT agent to get dozens of new clients every month. Now, I recently made a video building an AI agent step by step doing cold calling. So it's an AI cold calling agent. And instead of doing, for example, cold emails or LinkedIn DMs, it's going to use the most direct channel, which is the phone. So if you want to learn how to set up that one as well, click here on the video and you will see a step-by-step explanation by me how to do that for your own business. This AI cold calling agent can do hundreds of calls every single week, and it will allow you to book new meetings through a very powerful channel without even lifting a finger. And if you're skeptical that it won't work or that AI isn't just good enough to actually book meetings through the phone, well, I've done a lot of research and also testing on this, and especially compared to the last years, AI is now super strong on the phone. So if you want to check it out, see you in the next video.